Another game, another win for Delhi Capitals and another comprehensive chase, and yet again it was 7 wickets, yet again a day out for them in Ahmedabad, and boy, they become the first team to of course hit 12 points in IPL 2021. Can this juggernaut, which is Delhi Capitals, be stopped? We'll ask Jarrod Kimber right here, right now on Criclytics Man vs Machine. There was never any doubt in Shikhar's ability to, of course, find the gaps at will, especially against Punjab. And yet again, it was a brilliant run chase, spearheaded by him, 69 not out. We have Jarrod Kimber in the house to kind of bring out the post-match thoughts in this one, because it's the inevitable questions that I will ask him. How good were Delhi?
Look, they played really well again. The Steve Smith insertion was maybe the only time where you went, is this going to work long term? But everything else that they did, I thought they were quite good. Mayank Agarwal maybe got slightly away from them, but I didn't think that they bowled particularly poorly or anything. And the way that all their other batters went about it, and I'm even including guys like Pant and Hetmeyer at the end there, I think it shows that they're thinking about their T20 cricket really well at the moment, and it's a good lineup. And we've talked about it over and over again. That question of are you over-reliant on your openers? Well, not if they keep making runs,
Yeah, the fact that Prithvi Shaw and Shikhar Dhawan got off to a start against 63. It's 4 out of 5 times they've done that this time around, batting second. That's quite good to see. Punjab, on the other hand, Jarrod, do you think the game was lost before the toss was even spun, considering KL Rahul had that late injury news?
Yeah, I don't know if it was lost before the toss, and they still certainly played it, but the long-term ramifications of that basically means that Mumbai finished 4th now, don't they? I mean, a lot of things would have to go wrong for Mumbai to not finish 4th, or, RCB would have to, not win another game. So I think there's more long-term ramifications to that than for this particular game. But what you saw today is the thing that I've been telling you about for ages, and that, suddenly Punjab fans don't really understand, which is Dawid Malan starts slow, and they put him in batting at number 4, and he started slow. Chris Gale starts slow. They've got a couple of other guys that don't have tight, 5th or 6th gears as well with their batting. That was, in some ways, a decent sort of innings, except for the fact that only one of them made any runs. And you can see the complete difference between the way that Delhi go about it. Prithvi Shaw attacks. Shikhar Dhawan stays in until there's good matchups. And they throw in Rishabh Pant and Hetmeyer later on, again, to attack. That just looks like a balanced lineup. And, sadly for the Kings, they just don't have that. They haven't had it from the start of the season through to now. So losing your highest run scorer, even if he has been a little bit compressed in his strike rates at times, is it's suboptimal.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear your last part, but we'll skip on to that. I mean, does the toss play a crucial factor? Because you take a look at Delhi Capitals, yes, they're 12 points, but they won a lot of tosses as well. 6 out of 7 is what they won. Do you think that's a crucial factor, or do you think that just doesn't play a part?
I mean, they played some of their games at Chennai as well, didn't they? Where obviously the toss was of a different. Oh, yeah, they did play at Chennai. I'm trying to remember now. God, there's only about 3 different places we played at, and I still can't remember where anyone's been. So I think that the toss is a different factor at different grounds. I think that's very fair. I think today you could easily say that the dew was going to be a problem for, the Kings bowlers in that middle bit. But also they didn't get the good matchups because there were so many left-handers in the opposition. They didn't really get the matchups they wanted either. So I don't think it was just about the toss. Honestly, I don't think it matters where Prithvi Shaw is batting at the moment. He's going to go out there and smash the ball quite a bit. And Shikhar Dhawan is going to make a lot of runs. Hetmeyer suddenly looks like he's seeing the ball beautifully. Rishabh Pant hasn't even hit top gear yet. They've got a couple of overseas players as backups as well. So I think there's a lot going on for them. You can give them a bit of credit for the toss, but realistically, it may come down to this really, really random thing, which is if you play at home, you need bowlers that suit your home conditions. And then when you go away from home, you kind of have to jiggle it a little bit and see how you go. In this tournament, the absolute best thing you can do is have as many different bowling options as possible, because every pitch is going to be slightly different. There is no team with more bowling options than Delhi, and that's even without Ashwin.
Yeah, maybe RCB can take a page off their book, considering they need to, of course, choose wisely going ahead as well. But an RCB chat another day. Let's talk about this game more in terms of the Criclytics Man vs Machine predictions, because when we take a look at the batsmen, you called it right in terms of your predictions. Shikhar Dhawan and Criclytics went for Prithvi Shaw, but of course, it was Punjab's standing skipper who shone bright as 99 not out. Talk to me about that innings. What impressed you the most about Mayank Agarwal?
Do you know what? I did some research on him recently, and he's one of the few openers in the world who get, or in the IPL, that gets quicker after the power play. So usually after the power play, there's a massive drop off, and he keeps going. And I think that's part of the reason he doesn't average over 30, because talent-wise, I think it's all there for him. But I think the reason that teams like having him is because he keeps going. There's no consolidation. The interesting thing about today was, with a little bit of captaincy there, I thought he was quite clever. Look, he was still, 5 or 10 balls ahead of the strike rate for a lot of that period. But if you look at the difference, he had the ability to keep the scoreboard going in a way that someone like Jarrod Kimber just couldn't get going. And then he had the ability to stay to the end and hit the big shots as well. If that's the Mayank Agarwal they get once you put the C on his hat, then, they'll be more than happy to get that from going forward, because there's no doubt that he's a talented player, and that is the kind of innings that we want. It's he's a bit like a lighter version of Sanju Samson, isn't it? Where you look at him and you go, it's there, I can see all the talent, but it's not going to come out enough. Maybe a little bit of added responsibility, especially not having his partner, just changes things a little bit.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that, because when we take a look at what Agarwal did today, the 99 unbeaten, it actually goes down in the IPL record books for the highest score as a skipper on debut. And funnily enough, another name that you mentioned there, Sanju Samson, heads that list earlier this year, in fact. So we've had 2 back-to-back high scores from captains on debut. Bowlers, because Avesh Khan was Criclytics, and you both, of course, spoke about how he's been doing the job. But Kagiso Rabada coming to the party, Ricky Ponting would be a happy man, right?
Do you know what? If you had Rabada in your team, and what did he take? Something like 55 wickets over the previous 2 seasons. Some, ridiculous amount of wickets. If you break it down, though, you know that those wickets aren't as impressive as they look. That's why the purple and the orange caps are kind of ridiculous, because if you bowl in the death a lot, you're probably going to get a lot of wickets, and the wickets at the top mean a lot more, and he just hasn't been getting wickets at the top. For him to get wickets at the top today basically allowed them, they got rid of Gale, but also allowed them to get on top of the game early on. That is what Delhi need. That, as I said, the bowling, there isn't a problem there, but they really need Rabada to take early wickets. So I think absolutely huge for him personally, but also for Delhi, for them to be able to do that. If he took 18 wickets this season and took half of them in the power play, that would be so much better than a 25-wicket season.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just setting the tone is what you're indicating. A complete valid point from you, Jarrod. Let's move on to, of course, the all-rounders, because this is where it was won and lost in most ways, because you called Akshay Patel. Criclytics just loves Marcus Stoinis for some reason, but it hasn't been delivering for him. Akshay Patel didn't get a bat, but 1 for 21, got rid of David Malan, kept it tight, and hence he was the all-rounder of the day. Do you think he will be playing a pivotal role, especially to right-hand batsmen going forward?
Yeah, I think his bowling's good enough now that he can bowl to left-hand as well. Obviously, David Malan is a left-hander. He's a little bit different, because I think for Jarrod Malan, this is quite tough for him to start in the middle against spin. That's kind of the opposite of how he likes to play his cricket. But I think Akshar is so good at this point with his game, and is so on point with his bowling that he can bowl to kind of anyone. So I think that he will continue to be quite good. On the Marcus Stoinis thing, it'd be really interesting to have a look at the analytics there of how Criclytics came about that, because I would say most of the reason that Marcus Stoinis looks so good on paper is because most of his runs are open in the batting for Melbourne Stars. He's not doing that here, so he's not even going to be getting a bat. And we've already seen his bowling it's handy sometimes, but it also, goes for a lot of runs at other times. So it'd be really interesting to see. But yeah, I just saw Akshay Patel in that lineup was the most dependable of the all-rounders.
Yeah, handy, you're being kind to him. Let's be fair to Stoinis over there. Wicket-keepers, nothing to choose from, because, of course, we didn't know the news of KL Rahul pulling out in this one, and hence Jarrod and Criclytics went for him. It was, of course, Rishabh Pant who got, about 16 to take the honours over there, so no points scored in that regard. And then the results saw a point for, of course, Jarrod and Criclytics, with Delhi winning. Just to finish up here, because when we take a look at the points table, they're head and shoulders above everyone else. 2 points above, of course, Chennai and RCB. Do you think they can run away with it and cement that top 1 spot?
No. I mean, if you look at it, they've got the same win-loss record, except from 1 extra game than Chennai do, don't they? So I don't think they're better than Chennai. I know on this, it's. I know you're not going to feel happy about this, but if you look at Bangalore's last 3 games, they could have easily gone 0-3. So of the top 3 teams, they're the ones who could drop off the most, I would think. But I think you'd have to play pretty good cricket to get away from Chennai. I think to beat Chennai, you have to be pretty miraculous, as Kyron Bollard showed at the moment. So unless something changes with Chennai, maybe some injury. I mean, everything from fish tank injuries to appendicitis to COVID. I mean, the array of reasons that players have pulled out of this tournament. There's no reason why Chennai or Delhi couldn't be hit by those sorts of things going forward, which would change things. But at the moment, I still have Chennai as a slightly better team than Delhi, but Delhi has the extra win, so good luck to them.
Yeah, Delhi has the extra win. I'll pretend like you. I mean, I didn't hear what you said about RCB. I was not paying any attention. But on that note, of course, Jarrod, it's been fun chatting with you again. And who knows? Of course, right now it looks like the metro cities, which is Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai and Bangalore, but could be a lot of movers and shakers, so to speak, in IPL 2021. We'll bring you all of it on cricket.com. Until then, it's a goodbye from us. Thanks for watching.